I'm John Beaudin from the Aircom Radio Network, and this is a review on Toto XIV. You can call Toto a lot of things, but underachievers, they are not. Individually, they have played on over 5,000 albums worth $500 million in sales, not to mention Toto's own album sales at 35 million. The term fair weather these dudes don't understand. Just take a look at Michael Jackson's Thriller, for instance. Steve Porcaro of Toto co-wrote the song. He plays on it. Toto's other keyboardist, David Paich, is on there. Steve Lukather is on guitar, and late-great drumming sensation Jeff Porcaro behind the kit. It's basically Toto with Michael Jackson on lead vocals. 6 past or present members of Toto are all over Thriller, which, by the way, was released just 7 months after their own tasty monster, Toto IV, with 5 singles and 6 Grammy Awards. David Paich says that fortuitous big band moment for Toto came in September of 1975 when he, bassist David Hungate, and Jeff Porcaro started working on Boz Scaggs' breakthrough album, Silk Degrees. It was a last chance for Boz Scaggs and a perfect storm for 3 very visionary forces hungry to build a sound. They certainly did that. The album tipped 5 times platinum with 3 big hit singles and one of the best blue-eyed soul songs of the 70s, Lowdown. Steve Lukather was brought in on the follow-up, Down Two Then Left, but the backup band had bigger ideas by then. Though they continued to work with Boz Scaggs for a few more years, the band was fortified as Steve Lukather, David Paich, David Hungate, the Porcaro brothers, Jeff and Steve. This was 1977. Toto's self-titled debut in 1978 exploded with 3 singles, Hold the Line, I'll Supply the Love, and Georgie Porgy. I was in high school at the time. I was 18 years old, and everyone was talking about these studio cats that could do almost anything. Their sophomore album, Hydra, did what sophomore albums do. It alienated some fans, less than most sophomore albums. It was a great album because when you look at it, most of the songs off Hydra would have fit perfectly on the debut album. I liked the song All Us Boys, but was it me or did that sound like a show tune? Turn Back Their Third didn't have a hit single and almost lost the band their record contract. But the boys regrouped and showed they could cook something inspired under pressure with Toto IV, which had, of course, who could forget, Rosanna? So it seemed in 1982, Toto had reached their zenith. But what's that term? What goes up sometimes? At the height of their career, allegedly their lead singer, the main guy, the guy with the big strong voice, Bobby Kimball, had some drug problems and was kicked out of the band. There were 4 singers in Toto, but Bobby Kimball was the main guy. His replacement, Fergie Frederiksen, who passed away, by the way, last year on January 18th of cancer, at least on paper seemed like Toto's saving grace. He had a more powerful voice, but it just didn't work. It didn't quite sound like Toto, so that experiment only lasted 2 albums, Isolation and the soundtrack to Dune. But then came Joseph Williams. This guy was cut from the same cloth as Toto. In fact, Williams sounded more like Toto than Toto did. But drug rumors followed, he lost his voice in concert, and that experiment only lasted 2 albums, but 2 spectacular albums, Fahrenheit and the 7th one. But by 1989, Joseph Williams was gone. The toughest punch for Toto came in August of 1992, when their famous drummer, Jeff Porcaro, died of a heart attack. At that point, the boys in the band contemplated folding the group. After some reflection, they decided to go on and hire drummer Simon Phillips. Well, everyone loves a reunion. In 1999, Toto welcomed back their original lead singer, Bobby Kimball, who recorded 3 sensational studio albums with them, Minefields, Through the Looking Glass, and Falling in Between, plus 3 live albums. But after that relationship soured once again. The last time I saw the band Heart in concert, I had the pleasure of seeing Ben Smith, their drummer, doing a drumming clinic just before the show. He said something that really hit me. He said that when the dust settles, Ann and Nancy Wilson of Heart just want great players on and off the stage. They want good guys. They don't want drama. They're really sick of it. And as I listened to this new Toto album, I thought of Steve Lukather and all the things he's seen and all the things he's gone through. Lukather thinking, can we just play the very best we can? Can we just be the best band we can? Can we be healthy? Can we do it again? One listen to this album, you got it. They're back on track. But now, 27 years after he recorded his last album with Toto, the seventh one, Joseph Williams is back. He's played with them through the years off and on and even guested on their last album, but make no mistake, he is their champion on this album. He's healthy, his voice is stronger than ever. This makes a good combination for Toto. Toto 14, even though it's their 13th studio album, is meant to be sort of a sequel to Toto IV. Beyond the confusion, it's easily one of Toto's best albums in the last 20 years. It's not Toto IV, but it shouldn't be in 2015. The album kicks off with Running Out of Time, a punchy rocker with a badass guitar riff from Lukather. You know, my first impression, where would these guys be without this guy? Really, Luke, as his friends call him and his fans, is the backbone of Toto. He's not playing with too much caffeine in his veins on this album. It's more like fiery jet fuel. That's his poison. I had to pause for a second and ask myself, and that's not easy with a hellfire tune like this, what other guitarists from the 70s is this galvanized in that calling and what has to get done? What other band? The tune really sets a tone for the album, and Williams, those forceful vocals, it serves as that conclusive stamp that all the finest parts have finally come together for this band. The song Burn solidifies that strong charge on the album. It's a driving song that builds and builds, and it's a reminder that falling in love is easy, but accepting their secrets, their past, their lunacy, that's the tough stuff. I would burn it down for love. Watch the smoke pour out of my broken heart. Burn it down for love. There's no force so that can keep us apart. Lukather greets us with another enduring riff on Holy War. It's another reminder of what great bands can do with very proficient voices. Toto's done this piggyback relay lead vocal thing since the very beginning. Williams and Lukather juggled the tale of politics and war and lies and hidden agendas behind all those photo ops. Sure, it's a serious cry for accountability, but it doesn't get in the way of a breakneck haunting melody. It's one of 4 tunes on Toto 14 that feature original Toto bassist David Hungate, who left after the recording of Toto IV in 1982. Hungate says he was a little nervous recording with the boys again, but he did tour with them last year, so that tension was short-lived. Holy war, show me what you've been concealing. All in the name of peace and love. 21st Century Blues tackles some cool bouncy phrasing with Hungate keeping the pace, and of course, new drummer Keith Carlock, who we know from Steely Dan and a whole bunch of other people, doing what he does best, keeping the groove incredibly tight. The first single from Toto 14 was Orphan, and it features a welcome return to that Joseph Williams vocal growl, which we heard so much on the 7th one. He sings with so much conviction, like a preacher on a mountaintop, with his last chance of salvation. Never alone in the world. Never alone in the world, baby. You believe in each and every one of us. Never alone in the world, baby. The real highlight of Toto 14 is the official return of Steve Porcaro. Even though he's guested on quite a few Toto albums since his departure after Fahrenheit in 1986, this is a real satisfying homecoming. The Little Thing serves as his first lead vocals on a Toto album since 1982's It's a Feeling from Toto IV. There's two really gorgeous slow songs on this project, and this one balances that melancholy brand of 80s slow songs and modern charm.
That reminds me it's lovely two things in life that matter.
The song Chinatown sounds old because it is. Steve Lukather asked David Paich to go back in and finish a song which dates back to 1977, and it comes upon its Boz Scaggs feel, quite honestly, because of the era it was born in. It's another tag team vocals. Paich hands it to Williams, who hands it to Steve Lukather, doing sort of a Georgie Porgy vibe.
Down in Chinatown, whoa, whoa, where the nights are always longer than the days.
One of my favorite tunes on the album is that gorgeous other ballad, All the Tears That Shine. With the exception of Joseph Williams singing deliciously on the chorus, this is all David Paich. It's a delicate lament on crumbling, complicated love. Paich has always been a huge part of Toto as a keyboardist, a writer, arranger, but this song reminded me of that wonderful, deep tone of his. And by the way, for anyone missing actual melodies on the radio, not that campfire one-trick chant thing we're hearing all the time, this is your drug.
If I had just one more chance, it wouldn't be the same. No, it wouldn't be the same. All the tears that shine, just the rain that's in your eyes. All the tears that shine.
Anyone doubting the pairing of Yes and Toto on tour this summer needs to listen to Great Expectation. Toto have always had that kind of prog rock feel as a sub-genre in some of their music. This is definitely the progressive song on this album. It's, again, tag team vocals, which is the best for this band. Joseph Williams, David Paich, Steve Lukather. As a matter of fact, Lukather says he was paging his inner Chris Squire of Yes when he recorded the bass line for this song. The music industry has changed an awful lot since October of 1978 when Toto released their first album. It takes an awful lot to get a hit song on the radio. Sometimes $1 million or $2 changing hands, sometimes even more. Sometimes 5 writers and even more producers. Or is that the other way around? These guys have kept it clean on this project, and they've gone through an awful lot. They actually sound like a brand new band. There's so much energy behind what they're doing, and it's really well done. The guys in the band have seen the best and the worst in each other. But you know, as the dust settles, they've decided that it's not how you fall down, but how you get up. Highly recommend Toto XIV. I'm John Beaudin from the Aircom Radio Network, and we say goodbye to the great Mike Porcaro.